It's break time.
Okay.
I'll be down in just a second.
Wonder where I left my phone. Oh. When I was a kid, before I became a construction worker, I loved the Super Mario Brothers. And statistically speaking, you probably did too. My brother, cousins, and I couldn't get enough of this franchise. Our babysitter told us she dreamed about it when she went home because we were so relentless. So naturally, it was only a matter of time until we discovered another branch of the brand's outputs. This one not made in Japan, but in North America. It was probably sometime circa 2011 when my brother and I were wandering the halls of the now legendary institution of Toys R Us. And towards the end of one particular visit, we inevitably made our way to the bargain bin of DVDs near the checkout counter. And it was there we found something that would make its imprint on us forever.
Hey, paisanos! It's the Super Mario Brothers Super Show!
With the Mario Brothers and plumbing's a game. We're not like the others who get all the fame. If your sink is in trouble, you can call us on the double. We're faster than the others, you'll be hooked on the brothers.
My history with this show began in the early 2010s, but for the property itself, it really started in 1985, with the NES and its pack-in game Super Mario Bros., a title often cited as one of the greatest video games of all time. To say the game did well upon release is an understatement. And given the global reach of Nintendo's flagship characters, I'm sure I don't need to go into too great detail to explain how they became so iconic.
I really love these video games a lot.
To put it simply, Super Mario Bros. Inarguably reinvigorated the market and spawned a massive demand for more games of its kind, which Nintendo delivered with several sequels in the next 3 years. Now the company had $1 million property on its hands, one that did incredibly well in America to boot. And when you have that, there's only one thing to do. Cram it into absolutely every market you can.
Put down that joystick and get ready to ride! It's the Super Mario Brothers Super Show! I'm Mario! My brother Luigi and I are hot! Watch us take on the baddest bad guy in town, King Koopa! He's got his hooks out for Princess Toadstool, but we're gonna stop him cold. The Super Mario Brothers Super Show. It's awesome.
Super Mario, tomorrow at 7.
To understand the creation and conception of what would become the Super Mario Bros. Super Show, I had to do a little extra research. And that meant talking to someone who was actually there. I have to thank both Bob Forward and Reed Shelley, the head writers of The Legend of Zelda and Super Mario Bros. Cartoons respectively. It was Bob Forward who referred me to Reed Shelley, who was kind enough to speak with me one-on-one about his experience on the production, and shared with me some other material about working on the show. I was also able to find an interview with writer Perry Martin for Vantage Point, which I'll link in the description. The Super Mario Bros. Super Show was a hybrid 2D animated live-action series produced by the studio DIC, or DiC Entertainment. It aired a total of 65 episodes between September and December of 1989, and it was the first of 3 total animated shows to be based on the games. The Korean studio Sae Young handled the animation for the series, while the scripts were produced by DiC's writers in America. Sae Young also did other animation for DiC, including one of Mario's sequel shows, The Adventures of Super Mario Bros. 3, The Legend of Zelda, and Captain N, the Game Master. In a July 1989 interview with then DiC CEO Andy Hayward for USA Today, he stated that he spent a year convincing Nintendo to license the rights to their biggest seller. When I spoke with Reed Shelley, he told me DiC was actively looking for IP that had recognition in the marketplace and would translate well into cartoons. He also noted that Hayward had been communicating with Nintendo for a long time, trying to get a package for a bunch of shows. Once DiC acquired the rights to these properties, they started out conceptually as a project called the Super Mario Bros. Power Hour. This was an hour block on television that was to feature a number of series based on multiple different game properties. This wasn't just limited to Mario and Zelda, but also Castlevania, Metroid, and Double Dragon, which later got its own series in the early 90s, but the other adaptations never saw the light of day, and the Power Hour became the individual series. The Super Show was a somewhat unique project, being both a cartoon and a live-action sitcom. Each episode began and ended with live-action segments, starring wrestler Captain Lou Albano and character actor Danny Wells as Mario and Luigi respectively. These segments usually featured a guest of some kind, who would come to Mario and Luigi's plumbing business in Brooklyn, only for hijinks to ensue. Some of these guests included Sergeant Slaughter, Ernie Hudson, Dr. Frankenstein, Mikhail Gorbachev.
Announcing Premier of Russia, Gorbachev.
Greetings, Mario Brothers, enough small talk. My spies tell me that you make best pizza in Brooklyn.
Queen Elizabeth II, Santa, Cyndi Lauper. Fun fact, Lou Albano and Cyndi Lauper were friends, and she'd appear at wrestling events to promote them on occasion.
And Captain Lou is mad about MS.
Cindy, I want to punch it, kick it, hit it, make it scream.
Join us in millions everywhere and the Students Against Multiple Sclerosis.
A laugh track would accompany these segments, which were written by a different team than the animated half of the episodes. Andy Hayward stated that, "The Mario Brothers is such a unique property, we had to do it in a different way. We wanted to do a cartoon, but also do a show that extended beyond the cartoon." For the development of the animated portions, though, Reed Shelley shared with me that it was his father, Bruce Shelley, and himself that wrote the first Bible. For those who don't know, an animation Bible is a referential document for visuals, characters, lore, and story that defines the core elements of a show for those working on it. This way, the writers and artists have a consistent reference point for the standards of the show. In his interview, Perry Martin stated that the Bible indicated that Mario and Luigi would have a jokey rivalry, like Bob Hope and Bing Crosby from the old road pictures, with Mario being the fun-loving adventurous type, and Luigi being timid and cowardly. Koopa was described as a big, ugly reptile with a personality like Don Rickles.
What kind of birthday cake?
Is it happy?
Happy? Imposter! I never used the H word!
Shelley elaborated that material then went through internal reviews, and stated this process probably involved some other staff development writers. Chaim Saban was actually an executive producer of the show, and he had a music production studio close by that made music for it. Licensed songs featured heavily in the show's original run, but these were all replaced by different tracks by the time the program hit the home video market.
Start to freeze as horror looks you right between the eyes. You're paralyzed.
He's turning them into weird turtles.
Stay tuned. Captain Ant-Man's Super Mario Brothers World. We'll be right back. Super Mario Brothers Super Show, you're gonna turn into a Goomba. Don't be the last on your block to be playing with pasta power. Tune in for the wildest weekday fun in the universe. We're gonna kick some Koopa. Woo!
Don't miss the fun. Weekdays at 3:30 on Fox 41.
So, what was the content of the show actually like? How do you tell a story for source material whose narrative is so simple?
And tonight, we're going to fight back against schlock.
Is he talking about us?
Well, that was a question the writers were asking too. There was an extremely quick turnaround time that the crew had to actually write and finish scripts. Shelley stated that they had to deliver 4 scripts a week, which is no small number. They produced a total of 65 half-hour episodes in a year, which is about equivalent to 5 seasons of television today.
Holy ravioli!
Martin stated, "There was little indication about the kinds of adventures our heroes would have, and a lot of unanswered questions about how we would incorporate elements of the game. I had no clue how to solve those problems, and didn't see how the show was going to work at all. But Deke had an order for 52 episodes, and deadlines were looming. We had to make some decisions fast, or fall behind schedule, which would be a disaster. So at the beginning there was a lot of urgency to solve those problems and get on with it." Off of the top of my head, the plots I remember immediately are Princess Toadstool being turned into a baby, Koopa being a mafia boss, the American Revolutionary War, but the colonists are the mushroom people and the British are the Koopas.
General Washington!
At your service, scoundrel. Give us Koopa or give us death.
There was a lot of off-the-wall material, but with such strict deadlines, the crew were turning to what inspirations they could. Martin continued, the average script was about 20 pages long and took about a week to write. Now, in a perfect world, you'd have a lot more time than that. But series television is not a perfect world. It's a factory. So you do the best you can under those conditions. Writing those scripts, you'd often have to go with your first ideas, knowing you could come up with something much better if you had more time. But you never did. So you just got on with it, learned what you could, and hoped the next one would be better. Parodies became a common episode basis for the show, beginning with the episode King Mario of Cramelot. Martin mentioned that this direction was not part of the original Bible, but he believed the decision to follow it likely came from Andy Hayward. Once approved, the scripts went straight to the art department. There, the artists would do conceptual drawings and work with the directors to transform that script into a storyboard, which would then be sent overseas for animation. Shelley also shared with me that Nintendo wasn't entirely absent in terms of oversight. He said they had some coordination with execs from the company, there were style standards for the art, and consistent review all the way through the show's production. It's probably fair to wager that Nintendo's specifications for other parties handling their characters has probably gotten a little tighter in the decades since. Producer Clark Spencer said of Nintendo during the production of the Disney film Wreck-It Ralph that they received a note back from the company regarding Bowser in the group therapy scene. We also got a comment back from Nintendo saying, Bowser is holding his cup the wrong way. Bowser would hold his cup like this. So we changed it accordingly. For reference, this is Bowser's first introduction in the Super Show.
Watch it, soldier. When I want my feet licked, I'll ask for it. I want my feet licked.
But it's this show's eclectic idiosyncrasies... that's not a word. But it's the show's eclectic idiosyncrasies that make it so memorable and enjoyable, live action and animated.
It's all over, scum scrubbers! Who threw that vegetable?
So what kind of imprint did it ultimately have, as off-the-wall and odd as it was? Well, what I can say is that it encouraged my imagination with its sheer variety. Mario and his friends could go anywhere, and be a part of any story. Did they fit in all of them?
May the pasta be with you!
No. They barely fit in most of them. But for kids who grew up with this show, who were as in love with these characters as I was, we just wanted to see them go on adventures. And that's exactly what was provided. In an interview Reed Shelley shared with me, I read this segment, and I think it encapsulates the value the show really had for those who grew up with it. With Andy Hayward and Hayam Saban executive producing and running the shows, we were allowed to have a ton of fun. All we had to do was make millions of kids laugh. I just wanted to ask what you remembered from the show.
Watching Mario was part of, hanging out with this group of friends.
I feel like it was like something we all had in common.
Closely paired with that memory of, growing up with, part of our family.
I do remember, watching it so much, and I feel like it was all we would do. Sit on the computer and watch it, over and over again. But it was entertaining each time.
Harry Martin stated, I prefer to take my time and put a lot of thought into my work. And that's not a luxury you have in cartoons. But I liked all of the people at Deke. From Andy Hayward on down, Bruce and Reed Shelley were wonderful to me. That was a long time ago, and I've moved on to other things. Since then, I've had a successful career as a DVD producer, and I'm writing and producing my own projects now. But I look back on those days fondly. And it's really nice to know that there are people out there who remember some of the shows I did, like the Super Mario Brothers, and have affection for them. That's the best reward any writer can get.
That was kind of the impression it left on me, was starting to think of Mario as these are real people. It's not just the guy on the screen. I started to think of Mario actually as a plumber dude and not just the superhero in the game. It was definitely more humanizing. This is Mario. He's a plumber. He has a brother. It kind of like changed how Mario was for me, and I never really saw Mario the same after watching the show. Mario was never the same after this show for me.
This production definitely contained a lot of strange DNA. Celebrity guest stars, the parody plots, the animation errors, but its memorability is truly something else. I genuinely don't think I'd be as big a Mario fan without it. It's fun at the end of the day, and gave me a lot of great memories.
From the show specifically, I remember there being like human people, and that like definitely stuck out to me because I was like, I thought I'm watching a cartoon.
I remember being really weirded out by the live action like, scenes.
Yeah. Do you remember Mario's pasta references all the time?
No,
Go, holy ravioli!
In terms of like storylines, I just remember them like trying to like save someone each episode.
They always got me pretty like, they would like strike my emotions deep, and I would always be invested in every episode.
Are you being genuine or just being silly right now?
No, I'm being genuine.
The game was literally just that's the sprite that's moving around on the screen, right?
Mm-hmm.
The show kind of changed how I view Mario. I think he's more of a real person after the show.
But I like every time I see something Mario related, I think about the show, and then also us like playing the video game.
When I encounter other people who've seen it, we get to share in a pretty funny exchange. There's just little else like it, and there probably never will be again.
Do you remember anything about the games Chloe and I and Hunter used to play? We always made Hunter be Bowser, and he wore a backpack, and that was the show.
Oh, wait, so we were like reenacting the show.
Yeah,
I remember something about that.
Like when we would like play like outside or like in the pool, like we would bring Mario related things into it.
Yeah, I had the Luigi costume.
Yeah, you had Luigi costume.
The Luigi costume, yes. Yeah, we were really young, but I mean, it was a great memory. I kind of want to go back and watch it again. I think maybe I'll see it and it'll be like deja vu, you know, like oh my, wow, I remember this.
So you'd say it's had a positive impact?
Definitely positive impact, yes.
Yes, definitely.
I'm gonna go look up a video of the show right now. So
yeah, go right ahead.
You've inspired me.
And that brings me back to today. Because if I told the me in 2011 who happened upon the Toys R Us bargain bin where she'd be in just over 10 years, she probably wouldn't believe me. Because I was lucky enough to be a part of a certain project that, if circumstances were just a little different, probably would have completely passed me by. I got to work as an artist on a property that not only me, but millions of people love, and millions of people will get to see. And that is pretty super. And yes, I did actually crush my phone in a scissor lift. Thank you so much for watching. This is my first video, so this was definitely a learning experience on my end. But I hope you enjoyed it. Once again, I have to thank both Bob Forward and Reed Shelley for being kind enough to communicate with me. I never thought I'd be able to get a hold of anyone associated with the production, but here we are. I have set up a Patreon, so if you'd like to support me to see more videos like this one, or vote on what future videos get made, you can contribute there, or simply subscribe here on YouTube. Thanks again for watching. Hopefully I'll see you in the next one.